Welcome to our part 2 edition with Donald Coleman Jr., also known as Rusty. Rusty, thank you for coming back on, brother. Sorry, we had to cut it short last time.
Oh, don't worry about it, because it stormed here last night and I lost Wi-Fi for 45 minutes. You never know when it goes off, if in a storm like that, if you'll ever get it back on.
Exactly. And that's what I was having issues with this morning. I didn't even realize. I was trying to connect to StreamYard and didn't realize what was going on. So I was like, what is it? And then I sent you the invite and didn't realize I had to have my Outlook open. So here we are. And so I wanted to, where we left off on Tuesday was that you, we left off at 2010 on your Dogman encounters. Do you want to start from 2010 and then just go to present day? Or, I mean, the platform's your brother, so.
That's fine. I think we've had enough police stories.
No, I think it was actually really cool getting to hear all that and hear how detailed everything was, and then how you present it. It's brief, but it's very detailed. And same thing with like the story you were telling me about writing, getting into more writing books and the layout that you have of that book late in the 1915 era out there in Missouri.
Yeah.
I think that's really incredible.
Yeah, you inspired me there. Somebody else told me about writing. I think Walker DeShazer in Savannah, and I tried. I thought, well, I don't have it today. Maybe some other day when you and I were talking. You inspired me, so I may write a book. I'm gonna make it short books, not long books, but short, and then kind of see how it goes. And always add to the storyline.
And start like a storyline, like you said, you make them short, brief, but then start another one, and then where it all goes into like a big storyline. I think that's really cool, though. But yeah, Rusty, if you want to let us know about what happened starting on 2010 from your Dogman encounter.
Okay. The last time I went to LBL was in actually 2012. Sometime it was in the it was in the summer, so he's probably June or July. We went to LBL. I drove to New Johnsonville and picked up his cousin Laura. That's his first cousin. That's my second or third, I don't know. Their grandmother is my great aunt, so, and that's where I related. But we called Lala, and I picked her up, and so I took her out to a Chinese restaurant, and I had my gallbladder out, and that's one food you do not want to eat with no gallbladder. And I had diarrhea all the way to Lake Barkley. I had to stop 5 times. I thought, I'll never get here. And I didn't see any Dogman during that. We just went to LBL, had a good time. I don't think we didn't go take the boat. We went by car, and we had a really good time. And that was the last time I've been at LBL. But I didn't have any Dogman encounters from 2011 until 2015. On November the 15th, 2015, at 5:15 a.m., I had my window open, and I heard a scream I've never heard before. It was terrifying to hear that scream.
Wow. What did it sound like? Did it sound like a woman yelling?
It was intense. It was like the Shenango Valley, but it's a higher pitch scream.
Oh, okay.
It was see, that's more of a guttural growl, but this was like screaming your head off scream. And so I turned on my fans on because I have lung problems. So I turned on my fans on, and I was up playing computer Yahtzee, and I thought I went over there because you can't see where I live. It's completely forested. And the street lights are 100 yards away, and I can't see it now that the leaves are on the tree. So it's deeply dark in here. So I stood in the window, and I heard it scream again. I thought, and then I figured because of the pitch of the screams, never got a visual. I'm going by the pitch on the screams. It had to be bipedal because had it been on all fours, I wouldn't have heard it. It'd been screaming a little bit, and as it went down the street toward Holiday Hills Lane, I would have never heard it. But I heard it all the way across Holiday Hills Lane, crossing that, going into the backside of these houses on I forgot on Holiday Hills Lane. It goes all the way down the point where the old Holiday Hills Lodge used to be, and swimming pool. The swimming pool survived, but the lodge didn't. But it went all the way down in there, and no dogs barked, no sound from tugboats, railroad trains, anybody. It was dead silence. If that don't raise a hair on your head, nothing will. So I've heard bobcats scream and all that. And I've heard mountain lions, but there was nothing like that. It was a wake-up call.
And then you said that happened in 2011? Or was that in 2015?
No, that was in 2011 was the last time I went to LBL, but with my cousins and stuff, but we didn't see anything. But beginning in November 15th, 2015,
November
5:15 in the morning, and that's when that dog let out a scream. Wow. Twice. I go, good night. And why am I the only one that hears it? I don't know, because I got my window open. Who's got their window open at 11, 15, 20? It could be hot or cold around here. You never know. But I had it open, and that scared the fire out of me. And I told Vic Condup and everybody else, I never got a visual, but I was going by the pitch of the sound. And I was already 22 feet above the ground.
That's crazy, man. But that happened in 2015. So, I mean, you went through a 4-year gap from even seeing anything.
Yeah. Well, I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital having surgeries or so.
Oh, sorry to hear about that, man.
Yeah, well, it goes that way. Okay, here's one. Here's some good ones now I got coming up. Oh, this is February the 7th at 8 p.m. on 2016. I heard howls like it was. Now, these howls were different from the ones in 2015. These were totally different. And screams, unless he's got a volume of screaming and howling, I don't know anything about. You know, the remote viewer said it's the same dog, man. I said, well, he's got a different kind of pitch to his screams because it didn't sound like it. Actually sounded like two dog men. So I don't know if it's a werewolf or anything. I couldn't, like I said, no visual. It's too dark. It was at 8 p.m. and it howls and screams, and it's and then it left and came back again later in the month. It just screams and yells like it's coming toward me, and it stopped and then left. I thought, well, he must have galloped on back. And later in the month, let's see, that would be February the 16th, probably about 10 o'clock at night, 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Here it comes again. Same position, but this time there's two of them because I heard two different pitches at the same time. So I heard two different pitches that this thing couldn't have made at the same time. And so, and I was thinking, God's thing's gonna come up here and gobble me up. And so we got a deck. He could have climbed on the deck and got up there in my room. I had the window open and said, "Come on in," you know. But but anyway, there were 4 little dogs. People let their pets out and roam at night, and they'll roam through the neighborhood and stuff. And I heard these things kill those little dogs. I mean, you ain't never heard a slaughter like that in your life. I mean, I heard it. I thought I must be daydreaming or nightmare or something, but it was real. And I heard those little dogs get killed. It killed 4 of them. And I went out there the next day, and I saw blood trails going to the northwest corner. Across the street, there's a house that you could see. If you Google 300 Windy Pines Lane, Counts, Tennessee 38326, you can see that guy's concrete circular driveway from outer space. And I live across the street from him. But anyway, there's a house down below him, and then there's a northwest corner. There's a hollow and a ravine that go way down to the back of Wind Springs Cove. So apparently, that's where their corridor is. It's and I saw where it messed up the ground. But see, the ground's real hard when it doesn't rain or anything. You can't find any prints, but it sure messed up the ground. I followed the blood trails all the way across Windy Pines Lane, and I said, it ain't worth for me to go down and get chewed up.
Yeah, it sounds like that's like their highway that when they use the haulers and the ravines with, like you were saying, with the stream. So it's just like an international highway for these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, good thing you didn't go down there.
No, one thing about me, I'm not a researcher, boots on the ground type of guy. I'm a researcher, on iPad inside the house.
That's the smartest way to do it.
Really, I mean, some people like Don Peak Wilderness, he's on Facebook. He goes in. I said, why don't you come on one of the YouTube shows and share what you learned? That's how you teach people. And I tried him on Jeffrey Nadami show, and I never heard back from him. I thought, well, I guess you don't want to do that format, but everything, this. Let me say something. This is not entertainment to me. The government may want me to put entertainment on this. This is the real deal. And people, but they won't listen. They'll think, oh, you live alone, you're a recluse, you never get out. I said, I don't get out because I'm sick. That's why. I don't want COVID, you dummy. And stuff.
Yeah.
I'm tired of warning people around locally. I don't do that anymore. I've told a few people, I said, don't go out at night, even if you think you heard. I said, never go out at night if a woman's screaming or a baby screaming or crying or whatever. Don't go out because those are luring you to an ultimate death. And I can come on your show and hopefully they'll listen.
Oh yeah, definitely. I hope they do too. And I was going to ask you, do you think that you say they yell like a lady yelling bloody murder or a child? I've also heard of accounts where skinwalkers do that too. Do you believe that they get the two confused, or do you believe one's different from the other?
I don't really know. I mean, Kumbo Tim Baker would probably be the one to answer that question, but I personally don't know. And there's apparently there's all kind of dog men. I mean, Dave from Texas, I've been watching his photos he sends me, and there's not one. There's all like 5 or 6, and there's 2 other ones that don't even dog men. I thought, what is that?
Right.
And so I can probably see things. When he shows me those pictures, I look a little deeper. I'm thinking, I mean, one of them just absolutely fixed it's attack because he had his teeth baring and his eyes were just wild looking, and he was down on the ground ready to lunge. I said, man, you must be Superman, because I would be photographing that stuff.
Yeah, David sent me one last night where the eye shine on this one is just looked like 2 light bulbs or 2 flashlights shining in someone's eyes. It just blew my mind. But I think that where he goes, it's just a hotbed because it's literally a stream of water, or a lake, and there's a lot of activity with humans around, and he literally goes out and says a prayer. And I think that's why these things don't get too close to him, because he's just out there taking pictures and doing, boots on the ground type research, and he's got some of the best photos I've seen out there. But he does a good job.
I asked Don Peak on his show on Facebook. I said, do you ever leave a gift for a Bigfoot? He goes, yeah. I said, so you mean you go camping in Bigfoot country, the territorial markers, and you still go in there and camp and, have coffee and bacon and eggs frying on the campfire? I can't believe that wouldn't drive Bigfoot crazy.
You would think, right?
I said, well, you must have a Bigfoot clan that really loves you, because around here, I mean, other places, I've heard everything. I've heard Bigfoot guards people, and I heard Bigfoot chases off dog man. And I've heard everything, but I don't want Bigfoot. The closest Bigfoot was to my house, where I'm living right now, was on Hardin's Dock Road between the Pickwick Exxon and the Pickwick State Park, going toward the dam. And it was a guy named Robbie was doing termite work, and I asked him, I said, Robbie, you ever have any creatures that don't really belong here? And he goes, well, my friend, he told me a story. I said, I don't really believe it, but they were out walking where the woods of Pickwick's full of houses now, but it was empty then, back in the early 80s. And they were all hunting, had shotguns and stuff, hunting deer. And this thing jumped up out of the bushes about 10 yards in front of him and screamed at him. And he was naked from the waist down and hairy from the waist up. And I said, you mean you didn't shoot at that thing? He said, no, I thought it was a crazy person. He didn't want to be guilty of murder. And that was in the early 80s. And then I used to walk over there in 2006. So I probably had dog man around watching me all the time. I just didn't feel like it. I mean, I didn't feel danger. My danger's from the homosexuals that were trailing me and all that. But anyway, let's get on. March 10th, 2016, 2 a.m. I was asleep in the upstairs room. A dog man jumped on the deck. I heard that one because I thought my mom and dad, I'm in their room, had fallen getting up. I mean, I heard a loud thump like that. I go, oh no, I hope mom and dad didn't fall. I just waited a little bit. And so I didn't go down there and check on them. And all of a sudden I went back to bed, and a bam on top of the house. I mean, right above my head, bam, like that. And I could hear it, like that. I go, oh shit. He's up on my roof. That's so we got a metal roof now, but we had just a regular roof then. I said, doggone it. So we had an 85-foot tree. So he probably shot up, grabbed that tree, and got up on top of the house. And he was up there. I thought, well, I had my window. I had a fan in there. I said, I hope he doesn't beat 5-4 plumb. I smell blood of Rusty man. But he was up there about 30 minutes, and then I heard him scream again. I said, maybe a deer walked by or something. It caught his attention. And he jumped off. He jumped back on the deck. I heard the bam again. Then I heard the lattice work. He had pulled 2 panels of lattice work and drug it halfway down the hill and stuff. I said, well, darn it, and he just took off. I mean, I didn't hear it. If that wasn't terrifying, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that sounds super terrifying, especially when you're trying to sleep at night and you hear a big loud thud hit your roof, and especially when you're on the top floor. Can only imagine how. Did you go outside and investigate, or with a flashlight, or did you just?
Oh yeah, I went outside the next day and saw it. But like I said, we live up here and it's like limestone under soil, and the soil's not that deep, so I didn't see any claw prints or anything like that. It's just messed up the ground, and I saw where it, tore through, pulled the lattice work halfway, about 25 yards away. I guess he was, on his foot. He's probably shaking it off and stuff. And it, went on down. It looked like he was going. There's a little alley road runs right here, and he probably got on Dockside Cove Road and took off toward Holiday Hills Lane, and that was at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Interesting.
And then, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Rusty. I'm sorry.
My next encounter was in May and June. Let's see, that was also 2016. That was my lucky year there. In May,
it seems like there's like a 2-month gap from March of 2016 to May, and that seems like with dogmen, that's their most active time is in spring and fall, and that's right there is spring. So
anyway, I was sitting on the deck in May, and I've been feeding the crows for like 5 years, and they fly around my house and stuff. And So I befriended them. They fly by all the time. And I go out there and feed them something, and they love, like whole kernel corn. They like that. Let me get some water here. And so anyway, I went outside and there was a storm brewing. I like to watch the storm. And the deck is we used to have a little tin roof outside the garden room door, and I was sitting there and watching the crows and looking out toward the east over here. On my right side is the east side of the house, and north is right in front of me, and west is to this way, and south is the other way. But I was sitting on the deck. I don't see what time it was. That was at 2:55. Uh, let's see. I have it. Don't have a date, so I'll just say it was May. I don't have a date, or it's just May. It was. I was 25 feet from it, and it was 45 feet up a tree. Uh, and so I got an eerie feeling, and all the crows went berserk. They just took off, and that's usually a sign that they're in the area. And so, according by what everybody else says on these YouTube shows, and I was sitting there, and I go, the storm is coming. I thought, what's going on? And all of a sudden, the storm stopped right there in the middle of Pickwick Lake and retreated. I thought, good night. I've never seen that happen. And went back. It was coming east to west and went back east. And when a storm comes out of the east on Pickwick Lake, you don't want to be on that lake. It's some bad winds. But anyway, I've been out there before. Anyway, I was sitting down. I just looked. There he is. This one was gray and white, and he blended in with the tree and wrapped around. There's a big thick brush of vines right there, and he was right in this to the side of it, wrapped around the tree. And I go, doggone, there's a dog man right there. And I just sat there, and I was like, we're in a trance. I thought, I'm getting out of here, but I got to go back up and go slow. Don't turn around on these things because I think you're prey. Just back up and ease back around the house. Got in the door, locked it. That time we didn't have padlocks. I put all that in. We had the house renovated after parents passed away, and padlocked everything. And went upstairs. I said, it's hot up here, but I feel safer being up here in the heat because America just went out. And then in June, I was laying down on the couch. I think this was 2:35 p.m. on June the 8th. I was doing work for my mom. They'd been out running errands or whatever, so I was doing a little housework for them. And laying down on the couch, I just laid down for a minute. And it was a bigger couch. It was higher up off the ground than the couch we have now. And of course, there's a house built and everything, and 40. And then that's how far this was at. This was it had to be, my guess estimate, about 60 yards away from me, and it just all of a sudden it was no traffic on the road, and it all of a sudden it just stopped by. This is by people. It stood up and just looked right at me. I mean, but it's 60 yards away, but I could feel it looking directly at me, laying on the couch. So I thought, maybe I'm having a dream. I got to get up. So I got up and poured cold water on me and everything, and I got myself an ice cold Diet Pepsi. That was my favorite drink until that makes Diet Pepsi makes kidney stones when you get older. So I had to get off that because it's caffeinated. And so I went and lay down, lay down on the couch, and that dog man did not move. And here we are at the staring, and all of a sudden the FedEx truck came by, and I looked at the FedEx truck, see where it's going, and as soon as I turned around, that dog man was gone. I mean, like poop, he was gone. I don't know if he went up the tree, took off running. I didn't go outside to look for him either. I just said, I'm staying inside because I'm not going to be able. David Politis gave a victim profile of people that go missing. You know, it's people disabled like me. I'd be an easy pick off, and people like have German blood, which I do, and people that have bright colors. I learned to quit wearing bright colors outside. I wear dark, black, or navy or something like that. I used to have a red shirt. I can wear it, but only in the house with the window shades down, because that thing must can see if he could see Red Riding Hood, he could see Red Rusty.
That's true. And you bring up another good point about David
Yeah.
Pilates and the missing 411s. There was a little boy, 13-year-old Corey Godsey. Wasn't he out there in Tennessee or Kentucky? And they found him, I think that was in November of 2020. And they found his body was at like 400 yards up a steep ravine. And it's just, how would anything carry a boy that high and that steep in that rugged, tough terrain? You know,
Well, David Pilates doesn't believe in Dogman or werewolf. He only believes in Bigfoot because Scott Carpenter, Tennessee, was with him, and so he got up and wrote a book on Bigfoot, and it makes you wonder. You know, all of a sudden he's an expert, and he's never seen one until Scott Carpenter tagged along.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I've heard some disparaging things about David Pilates, so I'm not going to say any more. But one of the hosts on the Dogman Encounter show told me about it. So I don't see many of his shows anymore on YouTube.
Oh, really? Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
a documentary of his it was on Netflix, or not, was it Netflix, or I think it was Amazon Prime. It was one of the two, but I remember just watching it. It was really, really good. And it makes you wonder what happens in these national parks. Is it paranormal? Is it cryptid? Or is there just crazies out there?
No,
Definitely makes me wonder.
I think it's a Nephilim running loose out there, and they're showing up in all kind of shapes, sizes, and you know, werewolf, dogman, cryptids, skinwalker, rake, mothman. I think all of that's true. It seems the government is trying to make people go crazy and talk about it, and then they clamp down on the YouTube shows and say you have to say it's entertainment. You know, not that it's real. But I
Yeah.
guarantee you, I know it's real, and I saw it. So
I mean,
I'm
we see
just
them
trying
daily
to
almost.
I'm just trying to warn people on where I live. I don't know if they'll ever see this broadcast, but you know, in Hardin County, especially southern part, and probably up towards Sand Hill Holiness Church, that'd be about Savannah would be about from Sand Hill at least 4 miles away. So this getting close to Savannah on 128. And so you know, it's just for some reason, like I can look at Dave from Texas, his photos. I see more than he sees. Now I don't know why I've been given an eye for that and stuff. I don't know why, but I do. I see more than he sees, and I don't know if I've got a you know, telekinesis or something where I can see things. And you know, I'll just be honest with you, I even get upset and scared to walk to the mailbox. And sometimes I'll call a friend and come over here and have him go to my mailbox, give him $5. You know, I just don't want to get out of the house. Like I said, when I get out, I got a walking metal, got four prongs, and so I walk. I'm crippled where I walk that because of that amputation on my foot. So when I get uneasy, I follow my sixth sense. When I do live alone and stuff like that, and I had to get rid of my guns because of the brain seizure, but I do have protection on something else. This guy gave me a brass. It was like it belonged on one of these donkeys and stuff, and he put it into a deal. Because I was telling a big pit bull chased me a quarter mile one time in 2007, and I had to go through dogman country down there, the Wind Springs gravel road and up to the hill. I called the sheriff's department, and the deputy came out, and like he didn't want to get involved. He give me that gun, I'll take care of the dog right now. You know, and the deputies like they didn't want to do anything. I said, I told him, I said, look, I went to the library and looked up the Tennessee Code Annotated. It's green books with gold trim in the back behind the computers. That's where it's located. I looked it up until I found a statute that's law. If a dog bites you and the owner is held responsible, he can be taken to circuit court and fined $4,000 in damages.
Wow.
And the law didn't even know that because they don't know how to read the code annotated.
Dang.
I mean, they don't want to get involved. So finally, that dog attacked my mom and dad. We all went up there, and he said the deputy finally had enough balls to say, "Look, you got to chain that dog up, or we're going to take it off like that. If I get any more complaints, that dog's going. We're going to cite you into general sessions." And
They
so
didn't
what they
euthanize
did?
it?
No, they kept it. I felt sorry for it. They put the dog didn't have any hair. It's one of them pits. They gotta have, in the wintertime, it's like 29 degrees. The poor old thing was. I felt sorry for it. It was laying out there shivering, and they was laying on an old blanket. I said it needs to be over, And it's like those people ought to be charged with animal abuse,
Yeah,
and
animal
they
cruelty for
I think they
sure.
finally died out, and they took the dog off, and they got several more dogs, and every one of them went missing. So that tells me, Mr. Dog Man is he watches people houses for the pets to come out and snatches them. And who's gonna look up going up a tree when they're looking down the road, around the corner, or whatever? Nobody ever thought they go up trees. I've seen them up trees. I've seen them by people standing by my 45 yards, 60 yards out, 60 yards out. Saw them this, and it's crazy. All
Oh
right,
yeah. So that was
okay.
so your next encounter, Rusty, was after June of 2016, right? When was the next
Yeah.
encounter or sighting?
Okay, let's see here. Okay, this was Hurricane Harvey, hit Houston and like to drown it. They had like 18,000 rescues and stuff. 40 inches of rain, that's a lot of rain. It equaled Hurricane Katrina, by the way.
Wow.
But anyway, it curved back over this way toward Tennessee, the southern part of Tennessee. And I was coming home. I'd been to the nursing home visiting my dad. They'd put him in the nursing home because he got where I couldn't handle him. And so I hate to have to do that to people, but that's when I can't handle you, you need to go. But
yeah.
I think it was September the 5th of 2017. It was about, let's see, 4 p.m. I said August 27th, but it was September the 5th. Between the carport and the deck, I was laying on, and I had a bed for me in the garden room, and I saw something. I was looking at the cars and stuff, and so I saw something come up. I caught my peripheral vision. I got good peripheral vision, and it caught it. And I looked, and I said, well, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And at first I thought it was some weird looking dog, man. But the more I looked at it and stuff, I said, that looks like a reptilian. And the skin it looked like it had the embedded beads on the Spalding basketball. And I watched it. It was big as my 2014 Sentra 4-door. That's how big it was, but it was crouched down like a lizard would go. And then I didn't see his tongue go flipping out, but I watched it and it went between. I got some hydrangea bushes and it's real thick in there. I mean, you could hide a Bigfoot in there. You wouldn't know it said you stood up in front of you. But I saw it go over there between the car and that big pine tree, and cars went by and he took off in the same direction as the dog man. I mean, he took off. I got up to try to see it to the front door, and he'd already gone across into the woods in that ravine. I'm thinking, well, the river systems in Tennessee are 12,000 years old, so no telling what's in here.
That's very true. And a lot of tunnels and caves out over near Tennessee and Kentucky. That's how I think they honestly travel.
Okay, this was the same This was the same night. It was about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I was standing on the deck, outside the deck, and it ran. And this one was the dog man. Was this? I saw it. We had the basement lights on, so it illuminated. This dog man was like Pepe Le Pew's uncles in the neighborhood, and it was bad, stinky bad, shaggy looking, and I just froze, man. It was 10 feet below me. I've been real close to these things. It's thick, shaggy, and it scared the crap out of me so bad. I went and took a medication, didn't get up till Monday morning. One of these knockout pills, it knocked me out. Okay, let's see.
That was at 9 p.m. You said the same night that you saw the
Yeah,
reptilian 4
that was
hours
9
prior.
p.m. The same day I saw the reptilian, I saw this thing, and this came running from the south to the north.
Mhm.
And I looked at it, it's stinky. I said, I went inside. I know what that is. I said, that's not like a bear with 20 skunks on him. I mean, it was bad. And let's see. Oh yeah, I was in the hospital for 4 months in September to December 2018. I had 3 major surgeries. And anyway, I was at 3 Tennessee medical facilities, and went through hell, really, if you want to know about it. And anyway, my sister was staying at the house, and it was sometime in October when I was at Jackson General in Jackson, Tennessee, and she heard like two animals ripping each other apart out here. And I try, sister's a little bit mule headed like me, but she's the alpha leader, so you can't say much to her. And I said, Ginger, I said, look, I've lived here all these years, 16, 17 years. I know what's in these woods, and I want you to be careful. But if I were you, you want to build a fire at night, build a fireplace. I worry about the ashes. You know, don't worry about the ashes. I'll get the cleaning lady to get them and stuff. But um, you got, they don't listen to you. And they don't, you pour your heart out on your show, Shane, and you tell some really good stories and what you've heard, and but I guarantee you, you don't want to experience what I've experienced. In 2018 in December, I got home on 12/6, and this is the first time I've been in my room at my house by myself.
Mhm.
4 months of people beating on my door, and that drives me. Just get in the damn door. You got to come in, come in. And I'm real private. When my door's closed, I tell my sister, it's like I'm not keeping you out, but don't make a point of beating on my door. You can wait till tomorrow and stuff. I don't go upstairs and beat on your door. I can't climb the
Yeah.
steps. Please have courtesy and stuff. And if I go in the bedroom, it's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just I'm used to being alone and stuff. I don't mind talking
Exactly.
to people like you on the internet or anything like that. But here, I was constipated on December the 6th at 11:30. I got up, went to the bathroom, and I said, I had so much, and I had like $225,000 worth of antibiotics pouring through my body
Wow.
24/7. Pick lines down both arms. They said I had a deadly brain infection, and they said I had diabetic gangrene. That's why they cut my toes off, and I had something else. My teeth had to go. I had the bottom teeth. My top fell out about 2015 and 16, and so they took out all my teeth. I said, "You can't fix my teeth." He said, "No, that's probably the reason for your infection." I said, "No, it's the bottom." He goes, "Well, it goes your bloodstream, buddy. Your blood's infected. You have syphilis, which is a deadly blood infection. So they didn't think I'd live. Matter of fact,
Oh.
they did not give me any hope at all.
Mhm.
And they were like, when I was at Jackson General, I got there in September 28th, and I walked to the first. That's my sister checking in. They walked me to the deal, and they had guys on both arms and walking me to it. And I got on the table and they were talking to me, and I could not answer one word. And I'm usually spot on match with everything. And I couldn't answer one word. And she goes, he is in some kind of grand mal seizure. And I fell out right there as I got off the table. I went down, and man, I had 5 grand mal seizures. I'm talking about it took 10 men to wrestle me and put me in, and they had to strap me down and on a gurney, and I went into and I was it was just wild. It was one of the wildest moments. It was probably scared dog man. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I had a question about that, about what your sister was watching the house earlier. She said she heard
mhm.
2 creatures fighting. Were they 2 dogmen, or was it just 2
Well,
regular
she said
animals? Or
no. She said it felt like big animals ripping each other apart.
was
And
she
I
hearing
said, well,
blood
Ginger,
curdling
if
screams
that
or
don't
anything?
scare you, nothing will. I said,
Yeah.
if that don't scare you, nothing will. I said, but you think I'm crazy and I'm living alone, and I'm not. I live alone because I'm used to it. I've lived alone all my life, so it doesn't bother me. You know, if I need to go to sleep, I got a Seroquel 50 milligram to take and stuff. So I'm okay. Last night I stayed up all night because that storm, and Dog Man likes to pay a friendly visit during storms, so I stayed up all night. So I didn't hear anything. He didn't hit my deck. But getting back to December the 6th at 11:45, 11:30, 11:45, I was sitting on the toilet bowl, and I said, "Bam, bam," like that. I go, "Oh shit, that's a Dog Man." And so I turned off the light. When I heard the first one, I flipped that light off in the bathroom, and so there wasn't much light in where I got the spotlights on now, but it's why it's lit up so good. But the Dog Man turned over all my wrought iron tables 2 feet from where I was sitting. If I don't cure constipation, nothing will. It blew.
Wow.
I think I blew the toilet bowl out on that one. You know, I guess he was dropping by and says, "I missed you. You were gone. I didn't. I wanted to give you a greeting." I said, "I can live without that." I had to go and turn those old wrought iron tables over by myself.
Oh.
Yeah, and then let's see. I was in outpatient care all of 2019. I think it was at Worley Cancer Center. That's 56 days. Every day you got to drive to Savannah to get IV antibiotics. I mean, they poured so much antibiotics for me, I feel like a prescription shop walking around. But I didn't see anything in 2019.
So the whole year of 2019 you went pretty much silent, huh?
No, well, in 2020, I don't think I saw anything because I don't have anything jotted down. I got everything down. I've looked at my notes, and 2018 was really a wake up call. Uh,
Hmm.
I think that's all I got. I didn't
What
see.
about
I don't.
this present year, Rusty?
Oh yeah, yes. Excuse me. 2022. Yeah, I was talking to somebody on my 4G. Had my
Uh-huh.
iPad while I'm talking to you on like that, and I looked up and I saw good night. I said, my God, it's like 3 dog man kind of sitting back but the branches won't support them, and there's no way that it had to be a hologram, like Bobby
Huh.
beams in space and stuff like that. And then I looked up and I stood up and directly, and there's a big thing that just showed itself right there, kind of hiding behind it, and it had a head like a barilla. I mean, but it had a grayish white color to it, and it had a blue haze around his head, and his ears were
Oh.
big. And I could see the ears plain as day, and it was pink. And so I started tapping on the window, screaming at it, and then both of them would bob up and down. The ears would twitch. I go, I must have walked into a portal and don't even know it, inside the
Yeah.
home. Yeah, and so anyway, I just thought I'm going crazy. And so I beat on the window, tapped on it, and they looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? We're minding our business. He was right there and looking at me. And I said, well, I've lost it now, And I went and sat down in the bed and I looked up and they were gone. Just poof like that. And I want to tell you something else. I don't remember when it was, but I was home and my parents were alive then. So it had to be about 2017, I think. The early part of 2016, midway 2016, they were on the houseboat down to Marina below me on Dockside Cove Road. And a BF Goodrich blimp flew 50 feet over my home. And I'd never seen one do it before or since. Reckon what that was
Especially
about.
that low.
And I hear I hear Army helicopters. You hear, but then in the emergency helicopter like that, and I've heard them up and down my area, and they're going up and down, and they're either coming out of Alabama, down around Birmingham. I think they got an air base or something down there, somewhere close by, or Columbus, Mississippi. They got an air base, naval base. And then they got up there at Fort Campbell above Clarksville. They got an Army base. So it had to come from one of those three bases because you could hear that thing coming. And I actually looked up one day and they had the Jade Helm military maneuvers during the Obama administration. You talking about scaring the hell out of white people. That sure did it. That maneuver, they thought it was the end of the world for them. They're going to gather you up and you take the mark of the beast, whack your head off, It scared the hell out of them. But the Army helicopters from that military, because they went there in Mississippi, and I'm just like 5 miles above the state line, they were there in my neighborhood. And they had spotlights on. I looked up, I got to the door, I saw it coming. I just looked at it. I go, damn, I said it had a weird insignia on it. It's kind of like an upside down check mark, and it was black and white, had a white circle around it, and it was a big helicopter. It was a big one.
You think
Had
it's
these
like
big
a shadow
spotlights.
agency or something?
I don't know what it was, but it had these huge spotlights. I mean, the kind you stick up in the air to draw people to your business. It's when you have a promotion. Yeah. Like, I mean, you can see them from miles away. It lit my house up like it was day.
Do you think there was a dogman that was running rampant and rogue? Maybe that's why they were kind of in the area. Maybe they're looking for it. Maybe it got out.
Well, I don't think the military would waste their time on me and take me out because they say, well, you covered up in the evidence. I said I did. I was scared. In 81, who am I going to tell? I didn't like game. I don't like game works this day. I don't care for them, but because all the tickets I got, like I said, you could talk. Yeah. I could talk state troopers and everybody out of a ticket, but you ain't gonna talk to them rascals.
Yeah,
I guess on that Mayberry show, that guy that got in the boat with Barney and Andy and they're fishing, they called him the Jinx. I said I feel like the Jinx when I get in the boat. Every time I get in the boat with Scott, we get pulled over. Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Well, Rusty, it looks like so you've actually had a couple encounters from what you were telling me a couple weeks ago, and I think it was just recent. But with your dogman encounters, it seems like you've had 3 or 4 just in the last, I'd say, since Easter, right?
Yeah, but I didn't see them either at night. They're coming at night, or I tell you what is it was 2021 straight out from where I'm pointing out that way. There's a house right there. You can't see it because it's so thick of foliage and stuff. But anyway, I saw eyeshine. I said, like I see on these cryptid shows, these like the black wolves and stuff, eyeshine, and it was down low the ground, looking dead at me, but he was down low, and I ended up looking over the railing and seeing him down low, and that house was empty then, and they were down low, and the sun was already set, so it can't be any reflection, from the sun. And there's several
Mm.
eye shine right down where that house is, looking dead at me. Now they didn't come over and get me, but they're looking at me.
Wow. You haven't had any recent sightings in the last few days, have you?
No, not the last few days. When it rains and storms, I've heard that dogmen love to attack. When it's storming, you would think they'd
Mm.
be sleeping somewhere with a good old rain, but that's their attack time. And so, people, let me tell you something. The remote viewer, Sharon Russell from London, England, now she's had a scary encounter. You can hear on episode 3 on Dogman Diaries with Danielle Stedman. Now she has had the worst dogman experience of anybody on any show. I'm talking about the dogman grabbed the hold of her, and right there, she's like 14 years old in London, England, out in the country and stuff. And so she's my remote viewer. She like I have the original episode 6 till I was screwed up and I had to yank my program. And so she heard my episode 6. Usually I don't respond to people like that, but I thought, what the heck, maybe something will come of this, you know. And so, we bought it pretty good. And she's helped me on some murder cases and stuff locally. We just like to do like the murder cases. We looked at find Madison Maddie Scott out of Vanderhoof, British Columbia, in Canada, and if you go find Madison Maddie Scott, it's on the Facebook group and stuff, and weird disappearance. So she remote viewed that, and she came up with a ton of clues. But see, the deal with Shane, the lazy police ought to get off the ass and quit eating donuts and get going and do the work. They had so many people at Holly Lynn
Yeah.
Bobo's disappearance on April 11th, 2011. They all standing around, and the daddy came in. He said, "Damn it to hell, do something. My daughter's missing." And they didn't know what to do. And they're academy trained and state certified, and nobody knew how to do anything. It's called get off your ass, get your boots on the ground, and get going. That's a
I
crazy case.
agree.
And I'm gonna tell you something. That remote viewer told me that poor girl suffered, and it was filmed, by the way. They're saying it wasn't. She said it is. They filmed it. She was gangbanged, and then they doped her up so bad they put her in a hole or something, and then they got her out of the hole. I mean, she went through all those bastards should be hanging on the tree house. I mean, on the tree house, the courthouse lawn. Hang those sorry bastards. I mean, these poor
Yeah.
women that I say, dog man, why you waste your time on me? Go get those bastards. It killed and hurt and maimed people. Don't worry
Yeah.
about me. I'm not gonna bother you.
I agree. It just happens. It seems like you just happen to be in the right place, the right time to encounter them. You don't mean to, but it
Well,
seems.
I don't know how you would rate it, but I had if they get you, their telekinesis, if they were telepathic or whatever, and the 81 Bigfoot, 20 years later in 2001, a woman that was about 5 miles southwest of Collinwood went into her barn to get chicken eggs, and she saw the same Bigfoot I saw, 13 feet. And she went screaming and crying in the house and went all over town screaming and crying, and everybody thought she lost her mind. Because see, had I reported, that would have been when it was reported, it was confirmation from my 81 and stuff. But 81 was a bad encounter for me because I covered it up and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Seems like 81. You had a lot of activity. I mean, just from dogman and being a police officer as well. Got a lot
Yeah,
of stuff that happened in 81.
yeah. I'd graduated and I left college. I left Grand Junction because I went to the mayor and asked for like a rank of sergeant, and then maybe a small pay raise and health insurance. His exact words to me were, I was 24 years old. Boy, you are doing good not to have work on weekends. We're a small town. We can't afford it. In other words, why did I go to the police academy? Do I get a raise? Well, I said, everybody at the police academy said, I'll give you a raise. Well, boy, we ain't got that kind of money. So right then he belittled me, calling me boy. I was ready to knock him out. I remember here I was 24 years old. His own child was a dope head, and the guy at Middleton Police Department was ready to kill him. And I stopped him one day. I said, Gary, I said, man, I don't bother you because of your daddy and, friends with Scott. I won't bother you. Or Brubaker, I won't bother him either because, you know, but if you don't leave that guy alone, I think his name's JD something, he's going to kill you and make it look like you drew first. I said, he's out for your ass. And so his daddy was going around begging all over Hardeman County for people to write in, because his son really would need to belong to prison. Really, that's where he needed to go, because he was out of line. And so the mayor was kissing ass and getting everybody signed up. And my cousin's a doctor in Grand Junction. He's dead now, Dr. Nick Edwards. To like a reference, what it is, a friendly reference. I said, you're gonna have to bribe a lot of people, give a lot of oil changes. And he did that, and Gary went to I think the Marines and turned into a different person and became a fighter. I thought he's gonna come back and kick JD's ass.
Yeah.
So in my line of work.
Quick. What's up?
What now?
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask a question I had from earlier. You said, what was the lady's name from? You said, is it Dogman Diaries? I would like to take a look at that.
It's Sharon. Dogman Diaries is Daniel Stedman was the host, and the host is episode 3. Sharon Russell from London, England.
Okay, I'm writing that down right now. I'll go check that out. So,
yeah, you need to, because that is the most fearful encounter. And she was 14 years old and going home. I think she crossed a bridge, and there's like a little river, stream, whatever you call it over there. And it came up out of there and grabbed her as she was crossing the road. I mean, we're talking face-to-face confrontation. And
wow.
She's a remote viewer, medium psychic. And I said, well, how'd you get out of that? He said, well, I guess it wasn't my time to go. And he let her go. I said, I wouldn't be able to walk. That puts a fear. These things, Shane, when they scream, it goes into your system and like locks it down. Like it scares those crows. Those crows. See, the reason I do the crows, they are upstairs in those trees. They're 80, 90 feet tall. They can see what's going on in the woods, and I'm taking care of them. And they let me know when they start screaming and going wild. They're gone.
It's like the first line of defense.
That's my burglar alarm. And I mean, look, man, these dog men can easily go through this. This one is big enough for me to go through with them and stuff. They could easily kill me at any time. But see, I pray the Psalm 91, the blood of Jesus over me and over this home and protection on it. And ever since I've done that, they kind of stayed at bay, But I don't get out and go. I don't get out and go to the car till about 10 o'clock in the morning when I feel a bit safer. It feels eerie going out earlier.
Like they're
out here. They're watching me. And what it is, I want you to understand.
You have a lot of activity.
People come out here now. Memorial Day is bigger than July 4th. And then Labor Day is kind of, a dud, really. And they have the 4th of July fireworks across Pickwick Dam at the state park. It draws about 10,000 people. I've seen it, so many times I don't even want to go out there anymore. And I haven't been out there in about, let's see, I think 2002 last time I've been out there. A long time ago, 20 years.
Got 20. Yeah, I was gonna say about 20
Go,
years. It sounds like.
yeah, and I don't go out there. I hear actually when the Grand Harbor, I can walk out on my street and see the fireworks, but I ain't gonna get bushwhacked. What's going on behind me? It ain't worth it.
Mhm.
I would rather
Exactly.
be safe than sorry. I'm terrified of these animals. I know you want to have an encounter. I really do. But I tell you what, it'd be best for you to stay on the your channel and to interview people as you see that comes along. And Kumbo would be a good man to interview on here. And I don't know if Jeffrey Nadami would do it. You never can tell what he may do it if you ask him
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
mean that's all I'm trying to do is just kind of have a Dogman channel like with people like you. Like I had Roy a couple of weeks ago. People that have had
Yeah,
Dogman slash werewolf encounters and just have like a live Q&A. I mean, I know,
yeah.
like you said, better to just interview people. Yeah, that'd be the safest thing, but to prove to myself, that's why I want to go out and have an encounter. But where I live, it seems like it's Sasquatch territory, but there's been reports of dogman encounters out here as well. So just gotta know where to find them. And then the only way to actually have that encounter is if you are boots on the ground. And I think being a part of the North American Dogman Project, that helps me, out a lot too, because I could talk to my
Well,
Region One
is that
director.
Jody Cook? Is that Jody's Cook, North American Dog Man?
Yes, sir. That Jody Cook was our founder, and or he still is. But we all, I guess, we're broken into 5 different regions, and Deb is my Region One director. So if I have any questions or if she gets anything, she can always let me know, and I can go drive and go research that area, or interview the guests or the guest. I mean, the person that had the sighting. So I don't know exactly. I've just only been a part of the NADP for about 3 months right now. So I'm still learning a lot myself. But I almost want to just do it just to prove to myself that these things do exist. And
Well, Don Peak, he's the one that you ought to get on your show. Is he's got Don Peak Outdoors on Facebook, and
uh-huh.
his wife recently died. She's a really nice lady, and now he will go on a 13-day exposition to Dogman, Sasquatch, Werewolf. He that's the one that you really should hook up to is Don Peak,
Dawn
Wilderness
Peak.
Outdoor, Wilderness Outdoor
Wilderness.
on
Okay, yeah,
Facebook.
I'll definitely look that up right
Yeah,
now. Dawn
and
Peak. Is
Jeffrey
that
Nadami, I'd get him on your show because his show is really explode growing since Victor was on there, and Victor was supposed to be retired or semi-retired. Uh, he hunts and trains these dogman creatures. He's the one that made uh, Jeffrey's show really grow. I listened to him and I said, I hope the man's real. He's got kidney problems and it's probably going to kill him if he don't get a kidney transplant or he'd be on dialysis the rest of his life. And that's a no-win situation too. But uh, he's a he's an ace in the hole. Uh, to get Victor to come on your show and talk to you because I'm just a C plus interview. That guy's a triple A. He's triple A. I'm C plus, and I can handle C
well,
plus.
rest of you rest of you're an A+ in my book, brother. I just coming on, just talking about what you've seen is all we're trying to do here at West Coast is I just want to interview
Yeah,
people that have had sightings or encounters. And the way you presented it, brother, you're an A+ interview too. I mean, some of that stuff I've heard
okay.
on Jeff's show, it makes you definitely go, "Wow!" Like, did this really happen? I mean, I can't discredit anybody because obviously
Yeah,
someone's seen it, just like with werewolves in movies. Where did it come from? It had to come from somewhere. So I've never discredited anybody on this show or even on my Facebook page. I don't discredit
yeah,
anybody. Some of it seems
yeah,
really far stretched, but who's not to say that these things really happen? I believe someone. I take them for their word until proven otherwise. We
you
don't
know,
really know. So that Victor guy could be real and hunted these things and trained them because you're like the third person that's told me about Victor. Roy Stubblefield told me about him a couple weeks back and how he hunts these things and werewolves and whatnot, and that kind of just blew my mind. I'm like, really? But then a guy here in California who's a Bigfoot researcher told me about him as well, and just like there's got to be more to it. And so to say it didn't happen, I can't say it didn't because I wasn't there.
Outsiders are saying the LBL murders happened,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and I don't know if I told you this story, but I was, the police officer in South Fulton, and a lady called in. And I was dispatched about 1 o'clock in the morning. She called in about 3:30, and she said, I need help. I said, what's wrong, man? She started, crying. I said, ma'am, you're gonna have to calm down. I can't hear a word you say. You're gonna have to just calm down and tell me. And go get a drink of water. I'll hold on. So she went and got a drink of water and calmed down. And I said, now tell me what exactly is going on. She said, my daughter and his boyfriend and me were watching TV down in the living room, and I got tired. I wanted to go up to bed, and I got to the foot of the stairs, and bam! She said the door swung open, and two intruders came in and holding him at gunpoint. And I slid under the bed with the phone, and it was a big bed. I slid under the bed and stuff, and so I need help. Please help me, like that. I said, well, ma'am, where are you located? Northeast corner of O'Brien County and Weakley County. I said, well, ma'am, you're out of my jurisdiction, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to call Memphis THP, Tennessee Highway Patrol. So I called them. I said, at 1033 emergency traffic, I need to speak to a commanding officer as soon as possible, ASAP. We have emergency situation. It's out of my area, and I need their help. I mean, within 6 minutes, he called a colonel. He called, what's going on? I said, well, told him what's going on. I said, it seemed to be a home invasion. And I asked her, do you work at a bank? Because I'd have called the FBI right there on the spot if she said she did, but she didn't. And so I said, I feel in my spirit, in my heart, it's a bogus call. Who would break into somebody's home at 1:30 in the morning on, this, usually that doesn't happen up here. I said, how do you want to treat it? Now, this was in December, about the middle of December of 1982. First thing out of his mouth, how far is this from the LBL? I'm thinking, what the hell has this got to do with the LBL? I said, I guess about 100 miles would be my guess. Okay. And so they sent everybody out, and it was a bogus call. She got 1129. But one of the reasons I'm telling you this, they've had encounters all the way from Missouri, the Boot Heel, Missouri, all the way down to Kentucky state line. Metropolis, Illinois had them all around Cairo. They've had these cryptid sightings, and all the way to LBL. That is the corridor that they're using. And the people that got killed at Real Foot Lake, and they were taking pictures as they were running and these were huge werewolves. That's what I was told. Huge, massive. And they reached in there and grabbed him by the head and yanked him out of the car. And they were screaming and crying and help me, don't kill me and all that stuff. And they just took off out in swamps like walking on water to them, and took them up a tree and ate them alive.
Wow.
But they never found a couple. They never found any bones. I guess it's up there in one of them trees and stuff. But anyway, a year goes by. The boys were out four-wheeling in that same area, and a snake ran across the road. And he shot it, and he missed it. I'm gonna kill that. That's a cottonmouth. So he went in there and dug and saw. He goes, wait a minute. The boy said, wait, look over there. What's that shiny thing? And they reached in with the stick and pulled it out. It's that 35 millimeter. So they went home, told their parents. They had downloaded it on the computer, and there was the pictures. So the man, wanting to be a good citizen, called the game warden. So he told him what happened. So I think a federal game warden came in and stuff. He asked, did you see the pictures? He said, yes, I did. He said, did you make any copies of them? He said, no, I didn't. See, and so he downloaded a virus in that computer. He got that computer chip out and downloaded the virus. So when the boy turned on the computer, he ain't got nothing. He killed it. The virus killed the whole computer. Everything. So So, it's not, don't call the people that are supposed to protect us. I don't call them. I'll tell you. So at least we'll have evidence. And I was on your show and try to come forward and warn people. I'm not looking here to make my name. And I actually had the Travel Channel call me and wanted me to do a show. And so I asked Sharon about it, and she said, "Don't do it because they manipulate things." I said, I didn't do it. I said, "Sorry, I'm not interested," like that. And so, and Sharon said, "Your name
Mm.
is well known in the community." I said, "Well, I just look at myself as an observer, but I'll look out the window. I'll open the door sometimes. When I see something, I wonder if I stepped into a portal when I got up and I looked up and I saw them. Like Dave sees them in the bushes and takes a picture of something dark, and there they are. I mean, they are the most menacing thing. You don't want to see one because I guarantee you, buddy, it will be imprinted on your brain, and they'll get your DNA, and they're gonna come see you sometime and bother you and your family, and you don't need that
Yeah,
kind of
that's the thing.
activity.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I think entices me so much to want to have that encounter. I mean, I hope they don't follow me home, but at the same time, if it happens, it happens. Willing to take the risk, but I mean, I didn't even know about dogmen, or didn't even know they existed. The name didn't even stick to me till about 8 months ago when my buddy told me about it. I
Yeah.
laughed. I'm like, "What? You're talking about a werewolf?" No, he's like dogman. So we listened to a few Vic's shows, and I was like, okay, it sounds a little far stretched, but started listening more and more, and it started getting my curiosity going. Always believed in Sasquatch and aliens. Always had an interest in those things, but then they tell me that a 7 foot bipedal canine with raccoon-like hands exist in the South, and all over the United States. So that's where I started diving more and more, and then I met up with Paul Chafin and came across his, show or his Facebook page, and then I met David from Texas, and they helped me, what to look for in pictures. Noticing my jet black shadows during the day, the time are just not normal. And that's when I started going out and just doing my own research around here in California of certain known sightings. And
California's full of them. They're all around LA. I can tell you that for a fact.
yeah, I've done a lot of research, reading online, noticing where there's been encounters out near the San Bernardino Mountains, Black Star Canyon. I have a buddy named Sean Patterson out here in California, and he had named one, or it had told its name is Hades, and I was like, whoa! And he posted up his picture the other day with his dog running. I think he has a boxer, but if you look in the bush, I think you commented on it as well. But you could see like there's like a clan of 10, if not more, just sitting there, eye shine, and none of the two looked the same. It just blew my mind.
I mean, they had
Yeah,
the most evil look on their face.
yeah, and then but they play with his dogs, and he said that they've never been a threat to him. But when his dogs go running out, he knows he trusts them with them. So, but then you told me encounters about just earlier where that dogman was picking off people's dogs, waiting for them. So maybe it just
Yeah.
depends on.
Well, here's the deal right here. This happened in 2021, and so this lady it was in a pontoon boat, and they went over the famous waterfall in Cooper Hollow Cove. It's real famous up here at Pickwick, and so there's a where the Big Rock Beach is. There's a trail that goes up around the waterfall. It's what steep, real steep. I've been up there several times. This great Pyrenees dog she had it for a long time. It must have heard something because it took off on a dead run. And it went, and that woman was screaming her head off, called that dog. It went up behind the waterfall. They never saw it again. I said, they were all upset. They had search parties. They looked everywhere. I said, you better not be doing that. You're the one going to be missing. That's where episode 85, Jay Tucker's went down 100%. Went down in that area 100%. Okay, he's telling the truth, and in the area I talked to him, we got into it, but by apologizing on your show, I hope he sees it one day. But anyway, it took 3 days. I said, lady, you're going to have to put out a 3-figure reward, like 150 or 175, or just want to get you another new dog. you know.
Mhm.
And but she, he loved the fur babies, and they would treat them like children. And so she put up the reward, and like 3 or 4 days later, they found him 5 miles upstream, going toward Pickwick Dam, up by the preserves. Is a real rich area up there. We used to camp back in there a long time ago. It was found him on the beach. Wasn't much left of him.
Wow.
Dead. That's all right.
Unfortunate.
I guarantee you, he was eaten up, and what was left of his body, they just tossed him in the lake. He was eaten up. There's nothing left of him but fur, and the head had his head in the fur. So, even I'm not saying, I think that Dave from Texas has a connection to these things. Maybe they do play with his dogs. I don't know, but if they get hungry enough, one of these days, Dave's going to turn his back. There goes the dog.
Yeah, you never know. I believe these things are getting more and more accustomed to not being afraid of us. They're coming out more and more to where people are noticing them and they don't really care. They'll sit along the tree line and observe us, but coming out to the trash cans, eating their food, they're getting, I guess you'd say, more confident. And same thing with Sasquatch. We're moving more into their territory, so they're coming out more into ours. And I don't really know like why, but maybe it's because we're destroying their homes, looking for more land to build new houses, and
Well, that's probably it right there. We're destroying their habitat.
yeah.
See,
So
when they built the 10-time waterway 7485, the nuclear plant went in 77 to 84, the NASA plant went in 92 to 95. All that's billions of dollars of money, and they opened up the whole wilderness is now open to the public. That's where, and then that BW from Von Stryker's unit told me that he's had Sasquatch encounters. He's kind of like Dave. He said he went camping at one of the campground. I camped at campground. It's over at Bay Springs Lake, Tishomingo County, and he's told me they've had. I mean, he's seen Dogman on the 10-time waterway in Prentice County. They're all over the place. My dad wanted me to go to when I was driving National Trails. Why don't you stop and walk down one of those trails? And I was between Houston, Mississippi, and Tupelo. And there's a pullover, and I pull over, use the bathroom. It's one of the nature trails. So I thought walking, and I got this bad, sick feeling. Don't go any further. Just turn around and go back to where you're going. And I never went again. And it heard until Jay Tucker told him in episode 76 on Dogman Encounters Radio, Big Conda, that, and that's true too, because a woman down a little bit south of where it was in Matheson, Mississippi, had a werewolf encounter, and she was out in a car, and they were two big ones, and they just bipedal just like that, like just chasing deer or something. So up and down the Natchez Trace, listen, anything that has federal money in it, like the national park, Shiloh National Park's got loads of stuff in there. That's where I think, now this is my opinion only. I believe all these corridors, they're going down at night, the cloak of darkness, to get them in these areas. And of course, they're over making love all during the time, and they're having litters and litters of puppies and all that. And I'm gonna tell you something. I think it was I moved here in 06, 08. There were herds of deer. I mean, herds of them everywhere. I mean, everywhere I went, there were just herds of them, and you see them out, eating the soybeans and corn and stuff below Pickwick Dam and around the golf course. The grass eating all that, and all of a sudden, no more. And the owls used to come in. The owls that it's called like Owl Hollow. My sister calls it Hootie. Have you heard Hootie? I said no, hadn't heard him in a while. And so when Dogman's in the area, guess what? The big wildlife disappeared. It's like the only thing you hear is birds and squirrels And then when you hear cemetery silence, I don't understand how these things can stop nature sounds. I don't understand that. How do they do that?
That's what blows my mind too, Rusty. I went hiking with my wife back in February up towards a town called Springville, California, and it was snowed in. We started hiking. We got about a mile and a half in, but the woods were just totally silent. I told her, I'm like, that was our first sign. That's we're either being watched or, I mean, there wasn't birds chirping, crickets weren't chirping. I mean, it was
Yeah.
dead silence. Could have
I've
been
never heard,
Sasquatch, but
out at Pickwick, because like the mayflies come up here in the end of May, they're all over the place up there. But because the brim are biting, and there's a lot of people out, and it's amazing how close they probably are to these things. Because, like you said, you're on the edge, the forest edge, like a stream, hiking trail, beach where people pull up, have beach and grill out and stuff. They're right there behind them, and nobody ever notices. Nobody. Never get a sixth. See, you got to have a strong sixth sense, and the Lord gave me that. That's why I'm still here. If I hadn't had a strong sixth, even when I was a police officer, when I had to go into buildings and stuff, I took all my insignia, I took all that off and put it on the seat of the car. Told them I'm going in. There's a burglary in progress. If you don't hear from me, you better send an ambulance because either I'm dead or they're dead. And of course, they would be gone. The window would be open, they'd be gone. So I had to get the fingerprint kit out and, fingerprint where they were and all that stuff, and at least have it ready for the sheriff's department to turn over to TBI that does the investigation. So I got to do my part so they can do their part. They do the investigation.
Exactly.
We don't really talk to people. We may have a few snitches that we can go to and, like, can you help us out here? Like that. And that's the way it works in law enforcement.
Yeah.
And that's Tennessee law enforcement. That's rural Tennessee law enforcement. Now, that was the last time I was in law enforcement was 92. So it may have changed. That's 20 years ago or 30 years ago. That may have changed. 30 years ago, that's changed completely. That's changed. So I don't know. I heard now this is what I hear online. This is theory, but they already have Russian troops in this country, and they're going to take over the police, the law enforcement, and what they're doing with this COVID thing. And it's serious. They're telling law enforcement officers you have to take the shots or you're fired. And there's many, many people they're thinking that's the mark of the beast, and it's not. So I've taken the second COVID shot. It gave me a little rash, but it's gone. And my doctor said you need to have it with all your problems. I said, well, okay, and I took them. I got one more booster shot to go in October, but they wouldn't take it. They thought it was mark of the beast. So people are getting terminated with academy training right and left. And guess where they're getting? Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, all up and down, Idaho.
Oh yeah, it got pretty bad over here too. It got bad over here with the medical field, and not too much on law enforcement because they weren't really enforcing it. But I know a lot of school teachers in the LA area were let go or they were cut just because they refused the shot.
Well, I think in theory, the way to dismantle the law enforcement as we got it now, to bring in the Russian troops, they're going to, they'll do something else and it will piss off law enforcement and they'll just quit by the droves and stuff. And then all these Russian troops are already trained because put the insignia on. And so they're already in our country. We just don't know it. And I guarantee you that's when you better be scared because that'll be a slaughter like you've never seen. And they'll what they say, they'll cull the herd. They'll take out the useless eaters, as Hillary Clinton says.
Yeah.
But being on your show is an honor and privilege for me. And not to, I'm on another encounter show. is that I want to get the message out. It's not entertainment. It is real. It's terrifying. And if you have a channel like Sharon Russell on Dogman Diaries with Daniel Stedman, episode 3, or Kirk Stokes at Dogman Encounters Radio, I think it's 16 is his thing. And it will blow your mind because he was eye to eye with these things, you
Oh
know.
yeah, I
But,
believe he was out with his buddies when his happened, and I think
yeah,
I listened to it a while back, but yeah, Kirk's definitely a great person on these things, and one of the probably the best researchers out there. I know one day,
yeah,
I don't know, I haven't really talked to him too much recently, but hopefully one day we can get him on and we can talk about it if he's willing to. But no rush, no worries, man. Like I say, I appreciate having you on and talking about your dogman
yeah,
encounters and your law enforcement career and everything. And I just want to give people a platform that, hey, they can tell what they've saw. And I'm like I say, I'm a dogman enthusiast myself, and I love hearing what people have to talk about, and just it's kind of like my drug almost, you know. It's like, oh, what's the next one? What's the next one?
Well, you're doing a good job. You got to understand it takes a long time to grow a great channel, and you're at a good head start.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I really do. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not trying to get big off this. I just like hearing dogman encounters and kind of like a Vic Cundiff show 2.0, but with live Q&A. Hopefully we get to that point one day, but having family and being involved with a full-time job. And so I got to really learn to balance, you know, cryptids and
Yeah,
dogman football practice and a full-time job. So, but I definitely
yeah,
do as much research as I can on the computer or out taking pictures, just trying to look for these things. I mean, I'm better off probably winning the lottery than ever actually having an encounter. But we'll see. I guess the more time you put boots on the ground, you'll have more of a chance. I guess you could say, just like with the lottery, you can't win it if you don't play, right?
yeah. And if I have any more encounters, I'll just contact you via Facebook Messenger and let you know what if I hear any more or know something that somebody said or whatever.
Yeah, that would be great. And then, like I say, Rusty, you can always come back on in the future if you want to build up a case of 3 or 4 more encounters. We can bring you on and you can talk about them. That, like I say, the platform's yours, brother. This isn't my platform. This is for the people who have had encounters to tell what they've seen and whatever. Do the live Q&A if there's people that have questions. So, like I said, I just sit back and I listen and I write down notes. Like I've got 2 pages of notes I've written down from you since our first encounter or our first
Okay.
interview. So,
Okay. Well, if I hear
yeah,
anything, if I hear like the boys that were bicycling up from New Orleans to Minnesota stopped at Fort Pillow State Park, and they were in the back. Don't ever go. Warn your campers. Warn people. If you're RV camping, never go to the back of the woods. Stay up close to ranger station. You'll be safer. I mean, I know you want to get away, but you don't want to get away to what's in those woods. I guarantee you. So warn people when you can, Shane. Warn people if you're going camping, stay close to ranger station. You're safer.
yes,
Safer in
sir.
numbers. Safer in numbers, but alone, those bicyclists got killed, slaughtered. And there wasn't no rogue house dog. It was either werewolf or dog man. I'm thinking it was dog man.
Yeah, I believe so too. I think they're getting more and more comfortable. So, and you hear about these attacks. There's a guy that does the abnormal investigations. I forget his YouTube channel name. I think that's what it's called. But he goes and he looks into this stuff and he does extensive research. Like that old lady. I think she was in North Carolina. She was walking her dog. Got killed one morning, and they said it was just a group of wild dogs. Case went cold, and then down in Oklahoma, a lady or a gentleman was killed over there. And they just think they're getting more and more, to where they're
That was at
attacking.
Brown. That was at Brown Springs, Oklahoma, where they were honeymooning on the hood of the car, and they killed a guy and they raped her and split her from her vagina to her throat, split
Wow,
her wide open. Yeah,
wow.
that was a vicious. Yeah, so like you said, uh, they're out there, and some have been out there for thousands of years, and they've been. I think that somebody's told me they had them caught up in the northeast, like up in the Canada, Newfoundland, and up in that area, up in these. They had them out and they turned
Uh-huh.
them loose. Like I said, the corridors of highways, lonely highways, roadways, railroads, uh, waterways, rivers, lakes. They're dumping them out, and you don't even know it in the cloak of darkness. And it's like
Oh yeah.
Sharon Russell called me up. I mean, call me, text me on Facebook Messenger. Your dog man's on the move. I said, where's he going? She said, a place called Hook's Bend. I said, that's Hooker's Bend. See how close she was to it? Hook's Bend, Hooker's Bend. She was on match, just a little bit off in the wording. I said, I know exactly where that is. Where is he going? He's going to place a Big River Plantation. It's a plantation up there. I said, that's Big River Plantation campground, RV park. He says, Creek. I says, that's Indian Creek. So she, to said it to a T. That girl is amazing. And it's amazing the clues she gave the RCMP in Canada on that fine Madison Maddie Scott case. I mean, I listen. I did a boo boo, but I called the woman. I told her who I was, and I'm retired law enforcement. And I said, look, I really want to help you, but I don't want your money. It's $80,000 reward money. I said that's blood money. I don't want that. And I was going to do it pro bono. And I said I've got a medium psychic in London, England. We've been looking at that case, and and we believe your daughter was killed that night and taken out in the woods, and she went wild on me. I just told him he was a southerner, and she said, well, you're a southerner. Are you calling to tell me you killed her? I said, lady, I did not say that. You don't listen to me. I said what I told her. I said the closest I've been to that area was in 1986 when I was staying a week with the federal game warden in his home, and I've been courting her daughter through email, and not email, but regular letters and stuff back in the mid '80s. And she finally said, "Why don't you come on out here and meet me?" And I did. And she didn't like me. She said, "Well, I don't like your looks." I said, whatever, you know. So and I stayed a week, and then, they were kind enough to put me back on the plane, and I flew out. And she wasn't even married. And the woman was in high school. I said, "Ma'am, I'm from the I'm from the mid South. I'm not from Virginia. Southerners are totally different from us. And I've been
Hmm.
out in the country for a long time, so I picked up that rural Southern drawl."
Yeah.
So,
I definitely
and
believe
she
there.
and see, she wants to hold these rallies and uh, fundraising stuff to keep searching, and they ain't never gonna find her because the remote viewer told me this. There is an area around the lake that stays wet. You're like a bog or a swamp type deal, but it's small. And
Mhm.
she said the guy was a serial killer, and he's been tracking her. And they were at a store, convenience store, buying liquor, and he was there, and he trailed them all the way to the campground. He was in the back, just watching, waiting for a moment to attack when everybody was around. And she had a chance to go home with her friend, and for some reason, she decided to camp alone. That's what got her in trouble because when she was alone and nobody else was coming in, that guy came in with rape on his mind and drug her out of the tent, and they had a bad fight, and he killed her and drug her through the woods to where that bog is and raped her, dead. That's crazy. Raped her dead and
Yeah.
buried her. Raped her dead. Listen, dead and buried her. And Sharon saw, right in that there's a cell phone out there, but it's black and it blends in, but it's right above the surface, right at the surface, just hidden a little bit. And they said, we've been around the lake. I said, yeah, but you can go to a certain point, you know. And I said, Sharon, if anybody deserves $80,000, you do. I don't want it personally. I just the way I feel personally that the woman lost her daughter. And so
Yeah.
and so, but see, like Holly Lynn Bobo deal, her brother could have saved her life that moment, but he thought it was her boyfriend, and he didn't want to intervene. And they said they heard her screaming, and he said he didn't. When a neighbor about 80 yards away heard it plain as day. And they got away with kidnapping, rape, murder, right in a little town called Darden, Tennessee, in Decatur County. I mean, it's getting real right here, man. She could have been my nurse at Jackson General,
Oh,
And so there's all kind of weird
mm-hmm.
crap going on right here and weird crimes and stuff. I said, dog, man, don't be biting on me. Bite those criminals. Have at it. There's your feast right there. There's your Shoney's feast right there.
Yeah.
But
I definitely agree 100%. You think they would do that, use them as trained attack dogs?
Well, if they're friends with Dave from Texas dogs, how come they can't attack the bad people for us? And of course, now Victor.
I think you're meaning Sean Patterson. Sean Patterson's the one that posted the pictures with that group of dogmen playing with his dog. I don't know if David's dogs do. I have to ask him, but
well, I got mixed up.
Goes out. Yeah, David goes out. David says a prayer before he does. So
it was Sean that interviewed me on Dave from Texas, wasn't it? It was Sean that interviewed me on Hunters of the Paranormal.
Oh yeah, with Lee and David.
Yeah, because Dave, he had technical difficulties. He didn't get on to the very last, and then I had technical difficulties.
Oh yeah.
So
I know I was driving to Shaver Lake, and I got to pull over for a little bit, eat dinner, and I was listening to the show till I lost service. But David and Lee do a great job. They have great witnesses. Witnesses who've had encounters or sightings. They've got a list of good people on, and I believe they've got. I forget who's coming on to the next show. It was because I think you were the most recent one, or they might have actually had another one or two. But yeah,
how many shows a week do you put out?
Oh, me, I just do it whenever I have time. Really, I try to whoever gonna have come on. I try to give them a week or two notice, like, hey, let's try to plan it for this date, just in case anything changes. I know a lot of people do theirs on Saturdays, which is like the prime time, or Friday nights, but I'm not trying to break in other people's time slots. That's why I just do mine like on a Thursday at 6:00. Just hey, it's middle of the week, but I've only done 3. You're my third interview. My buddy Andrew was my very first one as like a test interview, and then I had Roy Stubblefield come on a couple of weeks ago, and he used West Coast platform as a last hurrah about telling his encounter. He said that he wasn't going to talk about it anymore just because he's already talked about it enough that he doesn't like reliving, having to tell it. But it was probably one of the best encounters I've ever heard. And I was like, man, I've got to interview Roy. But then for him to use my platform as a last hurrah, I felt kind of honored. And you coming on telling us about your 40+ years of encounters and law enforcement career as well. And it's been truly an honor to have you on as well, Rusty.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and hope you have a great day.
All right, you too, brother. Thanks again for coming on, and let me know if you hear anything else, or and we'll get you back on ASAP.
Okay, I'll anything I hear, you'll hear it on Facebook Messenger.
Okay, sounds good. Well, you have a good rest of your day, brother, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye.